What is up, YouTube? Welcome to Homicidal Tea with Ranee B, bringing you all the true crime stories that don't really make the news anymore because they're so old. Hooray! That's why I'm here, to bring the old stories from the old lady. Anyway, thanks for coming back. It's so funny because I think I have like 4 subscribers. Yeah! I mean, like, Bailey's got millions. Like, Brittany's got hundreds of thousands or whatever. But I'm like, 4. What's up, players? Yeah, we got up our own gang in this piece, yo. I know, I'm the worst gangster ever. But what I'm not terrible at is changing my lipstick from the way it was whenever the video ends, because it was hideous. I hated it. So I'm going to add to the ingredients below. I'm also going to link to Brittany Vaughn's page, because I was just steady watching her stuff saying, why didn't she come out with more videos? And the whole time I'm thinking, bitch, why don't you come out with a video? But as I was getting ready for the final scene, which is actually the first scene, I was getting my pose down, and then I was thinking, this looks like a picture you'd see like on a website for meet our staff, you know? Isn't that funny? So yeah, I look so all put together, but you guys have no idea. I've got a pair of yoga pants on and no shoes, so I'm rocking that corporate life from the neck up. Anyway, today we're bringing you the story of Jody Loomis, this sweet little girl that I call her little girl the whole video, and it seems like it's demeaning, and it's not meant to be at all. It's meant to be endearing, because from all things that I can come across on the internet, she seemed like a really great girl, really into her studies, really into her horses, and it just sucks what happened to her. It really sucks what happens after. So this isn't one of my best videos, and I can already tell you that. But you know what? We're in this together, just sharing the stories, and you can watch the forensic files if you want a real story, because I don't have that production budget. So anyway, this might be a little bit disjointed. I get really, really mad at this one because it's just, this guy really pisses me off to no end. Like, still makes me just so mad. I just want to murder him. Anyway, so if you like true crime, if you want to achieve this look and look like you are going to be part of the team, meet our team, look at our associates. I don't know if it's a lawyer or a doctor or secretary. I don't know. Meet your cafeteria workers. Hey, because you know what? They do probably a lot more work than a lawyer does, because they have all their PAs do this stuff. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to have to, and then it's going to go to the next video where I'm doing my makeup. I talk about all my ums and my, because that's funny. I'm going to put that at the end of this video, because it's just going to be, because I do not stop smacking. It's one of the worst habits ever, and I don't even know if I do it in real life. I have to see, because if I do, then I gotta stop that shit, because it's so annoying. Editing all of those out is like, really, girl? Anyway, let's get on with the story. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you want to just keep me. Please subscribe, because I check it about once a week, and when I saw that extra couple of subscribers, I was like, yeah. So yeah, I get excited. So I don't know why. I guess I want friends. No, it's weird. It's surreal to think that somebody somewhere else in the world gives a shit about what you're talking about. That's so weird to me. I can't imagine being like a viral YouTuber, because what the hell? That's just crazy. So anyway, I guess some of us weren't meant for fame, but I'm famous in my own mind. So until then, we'll talk to you later. I got another one coming this week. Oh God. Anyway, yeah. So hit that subscribe button so you know when I post it. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Have a great week. And here's the story. You know, I start these videos and I forget that I've already done an intro, but whatever. You know how many times I have to edit out of these? I should do at the end of these videos, like my favorite lady, Brittany Vaughn, at the end of her videos. She posted in her community tab that her outtakes were longer than her actual video. I love her. I'm gonna link to her in the information, because I just love her so much. Oh my gosh, I love her. Anyway, you probably noticed an edit right there, because I just edited another out there. Oh my gosh, I've got to do that. So that's gonna be a present that I'm gonna do for y'all. Anyway, that, and I do all the time. You probably have never heard them because I take them out, and it's so funny because on the audio line of the editing software, it has these huge spikes in the audio, and I know that's I don't know where I picked up that habit. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. Comes from being catty all those years. This case, boy, this pisses me off. I got a couple that are like this, so I'm just going to warn ya. There, a little disclaimer, there is going to be talk of sexual assault, and unfortunately, she's a little kid. Oh my gosh. Actually, she's not a little kid. She's 20, but still, that's a kid to me. Gosh, that's old enough to be my daughter. Wait, I'm old enough to be her mother. Whatever, same thing. This one's about Jody Loomis. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that one. This one was on one of the Forensic Files too, I believe. I don't remember which one. That was an edit that I just did, by the way. This one's a long time ago. This one's 1972. Getting makeup everywhere. As you guys can see, these girls, they're so cute with their moisturizer and their primer and stuff. Dude, I am so naturally greasy. I don't even need any of that. And what's funny is that I want to use a foundation that is so light you can barely see it, but will cover things. Is that even a real thing? Well, sort of. Because what I'm using is, I fell for that stupid commercial for that airbrush, that, what's it called? It's the stupidest name. It's like, it's a name that sounds like, oh my gosh, I'm so elegant to be using this. Anyway, it's some airbrush, stupid machine that you can put your makeup on with, and it has these 50-year-old women that put their foundation on, and they're like, all of a sudden, mad filter, like poreless, crazy, awesome. And of course, I bought it, and no, it's called Luminess. Ooh, look at that. Aren't we fancy? Girl, no. No. But anyway, the actual formula of the makeup isn't bad. So what it is that it has adhesive in it, since it's kind of like a paint. It's coming out of that sprayer. And because of this, it's awesome to apply just with a brush. But you have to be really quick with your application because the adhesive dries pretty quick. And it sounds scary that I'm saying the word adhesive in makeup, but I hate to break it to all y'all how you think that stuff stays on your face without just soaking in. There's a layer of adhesive, so to speak, in all makeup. So shut up if you're afraid. Anyway, back to the story. In 1972 is when this happened, and it's in Snohomish County. And this little girl, she was 20 years old. She was really into horses, really cute. And it was August in 1972, and it was still daylight. And they said that the young woman was sexually assaulted and shot in the head in Mill Creek Woods. I mean, geez. Anyway, Jody had left her Bothell home, I think I'm saying that right, I'm sorry, to head to her stables. And that's something that she usually did routinely, but she decided to ride her bike there alone, which isn't something she normally did. But, you know, the detectives were talking about how this was such an innocent victim. And it's just like, I mean, a little girl, and I say little girl, I mean, she's an adult, but she just seems really sweet from everything I read about her. She just seems like a pure innocent, you know. She's going down and she's riding her bicycle to go see her horses. I mean, come on. So Jody Loomis was last seen on August 23rd, 1972, when she was riding her bike from her home in Mill Creek, north of Seattle, to the pasture where she kept her horses. So she never made it to that field, unfortunately, because later that day, an 18-year-old girl and her friend found Loomis near death in a heavily wooded area. They didn't even try to cover up her partially nude body, and they just scooped her up and took her to the hospital. Unfortunately, they informed the girls that she had passed away from her injuries. The woman that found Luminess as a teen, she actually did an interview back in 2018 and said that she remembers it like it was yesterday. And she said it's one of those kind of things that you never forget. It's just awful because, you know, Loomis was only 20 years old. She was riding her bike to go see her horses, which is about the most American thing you can do. And it's just pure innocence. And I don't know what you guys, again, you know, I mean, I make no secret about how wild I was in my 20s. And when I was 20 years old, I wasn't going to see horses. I was going out to clubs and stumbling into, you know, my friend's car at 2 a.m. in heels and a mini skirt that covered hardly anything, you know. So I'm not saying that one person deserves it more than another, but my actions sure would precipitate that kind of behavior a lot more than an innocent little girl going to see her horses, you know. So unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot to the crime scene. And what it is that, you know, since they had moved the body, that also kind of moved the crime scene. So whenever investigators started bagging stuff up, I mean, this is 1972. So unfortunately, it's not a whole lot they could have done in terms of DNA. And I mean, they didn't even know, they hadn't even cracked the code yet. That's so weird to think there was a time where the genome wasn't cracked. That's crazy, isn't it? But anyway, they took swabs of everything, and they, you know, swabbed the sensitive areas because there was definitely indications of sexual assault, and there wasn't a whole lot they had. It was basically, you know, a whodunit from the get-go. But in 2008, that's when Washington State Patrol Crime Lab decided to revisit some old cold cases, and they took swabs of things that they had in the case files. And some of those things were actually a pair of boots that she had on. There was some sort of bodily fluid that fluoresced whenever they did their little crime scope over it. And they were like, well, let's just see. It could have been the girls that picked her up. It could have been hers. It could have been sweat. They don't know. But they sent it off to the lab. And they did find a profile on it. So they entered it into good old CODIS. Nothing. Didn't even get a hit. So unfortunately, that was kind of a bust. And so tick tock. I mean, this is 19. You know what? I'm going to stop being inauthentic with y'all because I hate brushes. I can't stand them. I don't know how my little bestie, Brittany, who I've never even spoken to. So yeah, I don't know how she does it because I can't do those brushes. They're all blah, blah. No, I'm finger person. So if you don't like it, I'm not a makeup artist. Don't have to. Anyway, so TikTok, right? The family is still like, whatever happened to our baby girl? Her monster is still out there. It's been a long time. Let's see what's going on. Well, ding, ding, ding. Parabon. We've heard their name before. They're pretty cool. I love Parabon Labs. They are, oh my gosh, if you go to the Wikipedia page and just if you Google cases solved by Parabon, oh my gosh, it's insane. There are so many that are solved by Parabon. Parabon, I'm surprised that like the owner or the CEO hasn't been like, I don't know, just targeted by serial killers because he's putting them away. That Golden State Killer case, that is the one that popped it wide open because good old Joseph James D'Angelo, yeah. Thanks for that, dude, because if it wasn't for your case, then we wouldn't be using this everywhere. So, cheers. At least you did that part right. Well, I guess it wasn't you. I guess it was Parabon the whole time, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, what they do is it's actually the technology, it uses public DNA databases where users who have obtained their own DNA profiles for commercial companies like Ancestry, 23andMe, they can upload them and expand their searches to more relatives. So you can get a third cousin to so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. So you can see if somebody's related to somebody that way. So that's pretty cool. Well, it turns out in the Loomis case, Parabon was able to develop a family tree that helped investigators identify Miller as a suspect. That's pretty cool. And the Miller that I'm speaking of is Terrence Miller. Never heard of him. Yeah, he didn't even pop up on the radar. Well, in August of 2018, they began to follow him. And he was in Tulip Casino, and he was drinking coffee there, and he was enjoying himself with a little bit of gambling. Well, old boy threw his coffee cup away, and investigators swooped in and grabbed it. They continued to follow Miller and build their case until his arrest. They were able to confirm that it was a perfect match using the Parabon technologies to the bodily fluids that were found on the boot of little Jody Loomis. Time's up, buddy. As they were arresting him, the officer looks over at him and says, I hope that there will be at least some closure for you two in this. Because, I mean, my gosh, that's 2018 from 1972. Really? And I was talking about this to my husband. Like, 72, 82, 92. I'd be thinking like, yo, I got away with it. They ain't never gonna find me. 2002. 2012. Oh, dude, this is good. He thought his life was so good that he was selling ceramics out of his garage with his wife. They were living their best life, selling their little bits and bobs and having just a great time. Yeah, not so much. Well, I started researching this story in July. Wow, that's really deep. I'm going to have to blend that. I'm going to definitely use brushes, not my fingers for this one. But I started researching it around September, August, July, August, September, you know, whatever. And I was like, this is awesome. I love the whole DNA thing. I love Parabon Technologies. I don't know if they have stock. I need to look into it because, well, it's probably so high. The price is probably so high. It probably missed the big surge. But I'd like to own stock just to be a part of it because these guys, seriously, Google that Wikipedia page. Just Parabon Labs. Crime solved, wiki. Enter. Boom. Click on it. And it is insane. And it has them by dates and by months and everything. Holy smokes. I'm sure that I'm going to start using that instead of Forensic Files and First 48 as my list of people to start going down and doing little cases on, because there's a lot of cases I've never heard of on there. So it's insane. So let's see how I'm doing. I'm a little cougar racing stripe-ish, but whatever, we'll fix it with powder. Anyway, so it was September, like I said, when I started researching this case, and I was like, yeah, so they finally got him. And then the trial was set, and that was all awesome. So, and I'm going to skip back. This is going to be inserted into something I said before because he was living his best life and selling his little ceramics and everything. Well, it turns out that investigators, they noticed whenever they went by, they were still doing their surveillance on him, and they went by his little business and they visited the ceramic shop that he ran with his wife, and that was in November of 2018, and they noticed a nearly 7-month-old newspaper on the table, and it had a headline about an arrest that was made on another cold case in that same county, Snohomish County. They were wondering if it was about the double murder of a young couple from British Columbia. It was in 1987, so it was long after his little deed that he did. But it's funny because the presence of that newspaper, it seemed, you know, I guess the very best you could say is it seemed odd that the investigators noticed of all newspapers to be out and to be front and center would be one talking about a cold case. You know, he was getting kind of like, this little DNA stuff is kind of starting to make me itch a little. Well, it should have been because you had investigators right in your property looking at your little bits and bobs. But anyway, sorry, I had to insert a little nugget from before. Yeah, anyway, I'm new at this. Shut up. Anyway, well, the Edmonds man, Terrence Miller, he pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder in the death of Jody Loomis, and they court documents say that Miller's DNA was found on her boot, blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, you know, he's kind of an older guy. Let's give him bail. Great. So they set bond. And he makes bond. Hooray. They then set his trial for October of 2020. Hooray. You know, because 2020 was a great year. So they set the trial for October, like I said. Well, great. Tick tock, tick tock. Well, guess what? October 27th, and I'm still researching this case in September. And then I started recording my channel and then started doing other stories and then kind of put this one on the back burner until I was going through my notes. And I was like, oh, I'm going to refresh this one. And that was probably in late October. And I saw that he had just gone on trial. Yay! So they had put him on trial and opening arguments and everything started on October 22nd. Things were not looking good. He was not going to get off. It was clear to everyone involved that he was not going to get away with this. And, you know, they were finally going to get justice for Jody's family. Then I forget about it again for a couple weeks. Then I research it again, and the first thing that pops up is suspect in 1972 murder dies of suicide. There's a couple of these, and that is That's got me so pissed off because you could do this. Do you know how scared that little girl was? Do you have any idea? I mean, seriously, she was probably so freaked out, insanely scared that, you know, she was about to lose her life. She's getting, you know, tackled by this guy while she's riding her bike, for Christ's sake, taking her bike to go see her little horses. I mean, not even out there partying and being crazy. And then you want to, when it's time for you to pay your price, what do? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't face reality. I'm going to kill myself. You pussy. I was so mad. And in my notes, as I was typing this, it's so funny. It says, all capitals, what a pussy. I mean, really. So, you know, what's crazy, though, is that they went forward with the conviction. And they went forward and he was found guilty. And so on the books, Terrence Miller is guilty of the murder of Jody Loomis. So at least that way the family could get some closure. But I mean, seriously, it just, that really, 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 really pissed me off. And there's a couple of these cases, like I said, and it's just like, what, you got away with it for so long. I mean, how hard would prison be for you anyway? So I'm not, whatever. I just don't understand why. It made me so mad. The way that they broke the news, though, was like just before 10 a.m., the sheriff's department, they on the day that it happened, they responded to a suicide and found out that what they believed to be Mr. Miller's body. And while he had been out on bond, a family member had reported the suicide. About 3 hours later, a jury that had been hearing the case for 2 weeks, they went ahead and convicted him. Good. And the judge in the case announced to the court that Mr. Miller had died at that time. I don't even think they knew. So he tried to escape it, but he couldn't. So when deputies tried to get that, at that time it was a blood sample from the body, you know, they couldn't even, it didn't come back with anything, any sort of blood typing, so they thought they were just SOL. So imagine those investigators. I wonder if any of them are still around at all. I mean, that's a long time for them to be. I mean, like if they were a rookie that year, they could be. I wonder if that, I gotta look that up to see if any of those investigators are still around to see this case come to a close. Even though it's not the way it should have closed, because, God, that makes me so mad. I mean, why do people do that? I mean, there's another case that I want to do too, and that guy, spoiler alert, but I'm not going to tell you which case, that guy also killed himself. It's like, you know, the stuff that you put these people through, and then you can't even take getting, you know, 3 meals a day in a, not soft bed, but compared to death, it's a lot softer. I mean, just, anyway, I'm not even making sense because it just pisses me off so bad. But anyway, but if you guys want to share your thoughts on this, and just, I mean, does it make you as mad, or do you think that the people got their own form of justice in having him dead as well? Because I don't know if Washington State is a death penalty state. Because, like, you know, I know, like, in Florida, they like to execute. In Texas, they like to execute. But I've never heard of people zapping people in Washington, but what do I know? Anyway, just, yeah, so give me your comments. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this one. It just makes me mad. Sorry I don't have a whole lot more to say about it. I just think it's a real wuss way out. And, you know, her parents are deceased, so her sister was still alive at the time. So, but then, you know, there were no comments. She didn't make any public comments on any of this. So, and I can understand why. But yeah, if this was your family, how would you feel? Would that kind of outcome help anything for you? Would you find some sort of solace in the fact that old boy was dead and was at least suffering for that year he was waiting? Or would you rather have him go to jail. Well, you know, I mean, there had to be, I mean, even if you think back to that newspaper that was open at his ceramics quote unquote shop, you know, he was paranoid. So there's a level of paranoia that he had. So there's some, I guess, sentence that he was serving, if you want to be that bold about that, because that had to be its own kind of hell to wonder, you know, is science going to catch up to what I thought I got away with? You know, I mean, so maybe that was, you know, at least some, I don't know. My thoughts are disjointed because it bothers me so much. I just wish that he had died. I probably shouldn't have even done the story because it made me too mad. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. That's unfortunately the story of Jody Loomis. She didn't deserve what came to her, especially as sweet as she seemed to be. I just didn't know there's even a little picture that I'm going to try to put up if I can learn how to insert pictures. I thought I would know how to use this program a lot more than I do. Yeah. But there's the sweetest little picture of her next to her horse. And you can just tell she was just a quiet little girl that wore glasses and was just, you know, just seemed happy with her little friends, equine friends. And it just sucks that some monster can come along and take it. And then whenever it's time for him to take any sort of responsibility, he's just like, oh no, I'm good. Peace. Thank you very much for watching. And I got a really good one coming up. I'm going to try to do it this week, during the week sometime, because I took a little bit of time off during the holidays, but I've done a lot of research, and this one case is pretty cool. And I can't find a lot about it. I ran a search for it, and I think I could find like just his arrest records is all that I can really find on it. So maybe I don't know. Anyway, so that should be coming out a little bit later this week. And thank you for watching as always. And hopefully we can find one that gets a good old execution out of it, or a life sentence or something. I'm shaking the camera, sorry. I get excited. So, you know, for some reason that just really, yeah. So I'll see y'all later. Bye. Oh, that was terrible. I don't even know if I'm gonna post that. What is up, YouTube? This is, what is up, YouTube? It is your, what is up, YouTube? It, the, if you go to Google and you Google, I did two there. Well, it turns out in Lewis, well, um, could be orthopedic ad. Or not orthopedic. Could be orthodontic ad. Ow. Fucker. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Here we go. I don't even remember what I was saying. Get your double chins here.